Messenger from Planning Department. All of my team are here. I just want to point them out. Paolo and Medico on the left, and Gil Kelly, our Director of Citywide Planning, and Andy Nelson, and Canvas is in the back. We are really excited to hear from tenants' rights groups and tenants on this issue. We've been working really hard. We've had about 20 community meetings on this program, and this is the first one we've had that's been focused on tenants, and so we all wanted to kind of hear your input. I'm going to just go through a quick presentation. I don't recognize many of your faces, so I assume this will be new information to you. If I go too fast or dive too deep into the planning acronym world, just raise your hand and I will slow myself down. So as Joseph said, and hopefully all of you have heard, there's a program called the Affordable Housing Bonus Program. It's legislation that was introduced in September by Mayor Lee and Supervisor Tang. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why we're doing this now, how it works, and how it might work in your neighborhood. The most important motivation for our work in the department around housing policy is to maintain an equitable and inclusive city. And Gil Kelly joined us a couple of years, 2 years ago now, is it? Gil joined the department, and the first thing he did was pull together all of our long-range planners and help us organize our thinking by challenges. Our number one challenge is how do we remain an equitable and inclusive city? Our whole team works under that goal. So that's really what is driving this work. I don't have to talk very long about the affordable housing crisis. I think everyone raised their hand about being aware of it and also being worried that they may not be able to stay. There's lots of information and facts. We'll go through a few of those, but we know that this city is one of the most expensive cities, by some metrics, the most expensive city in the nation, and that's impacting both renters and owners, and it's impacting households' ability to move and right-size their housing. I live in a rent-controlled building. Across the hallway from me is a family of 4 in a one-bedroom unit, so there's a lot of constraints on the affordability issues and how households can grow. We understand there to be a need for permanently affordable housing. Rent-controlled housing has been really great for me, but when I move out, it's not going to be an affordable unit. Permanently affordable means that when the household, when the unit is affordable to a person of a certain income level, when they leave, it's still affordable to a person of that income level. So when I talk about affordable units and the units this program will produce, it's that kind of unit. And there was a lot of talk from Supervisor Marr and also Joseph, I believe, about middle-income housing. And I'm going to talk more about that. But this program is one of the first programs the city has ever developed to create middle-income housing. Also, why we took this particular approach, there is a state law called the State Density Bonus Law, and it says if you live in the state of California and you build any permanently affordable housing, you're allowed a density benefit. And that's really what we're talking about today. So let's say you're building, you're allowed to build 10 units on a particular parcel, and you agree to make 2 of them affordable. According to the state law, you get a density benefit of maybe 1 extra unit, and that revenue from that 1 extra unit is meant to subsidize those affordable units. So it's part of the revenue stream to offset that benefit. This is a common planning tool. We offer incentives through development rights that pay for public goods. In this case, we're focusing on affordable housing as the public good. The state law has been on the books since 1979. Some of us have been living in San Francisco that long. To date, we've only used it in San Francisco for about 15 projects because we really understood it to be only for projects that were 100% affordable. The projects that were publicly funded, that were getting all this public subsidy and electing to provide affordable housing. In 2013, there was a court ruling, we call it the Napa court case. It was in the California Supreme Court that said, you know what? Even if you build affordable housing because you're required by a local law, like the inclusionary housing law, you are eligible for this density benefit. Before I go on, is there anyone who doesn't know what inclusionary housing is? Whoa.
I do.
Oh, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So, inclusionary housing. that's in the city of San Francisco. We've had this on the books since about 2003. And it says, developer, you're coming, you're building new housing in our neighborhood, in our communities. When you build that new housing, that market rate housing, you create a demand for services and jobs for lower income households. So you have to make a certain percent of those housing units affordable. So it's including affordable housing or inclusionary. So in the city of San Francisco, the policy has changed a lot over time, but it's actually 12% right now. So right now, in the city of San Francisco, if you're building 100 units, because the math is easy, 12 of those are required to be affordable. In the city of San Francisco, if you build 10 units or more, you're required to participate in this inclusionary housing program. When this court case came down, we realized that any project that includes inclusionary housing could ask for these benefits. So those are some of our motivations. They're telling me I have 5 minutes, which is almost impossible, so let's keep going. So what is affordable? Can you guys see these numbers? Yeah. Okay. So our very low income households, this is for a 1-person and a 3-person household. Our very low income households are serviced by 100% affordable housing. That's our largest affordable housing portfolio as a city. Low and moderate income are serviced by that inclusionary housing program we just talked about. We do not have a permanent source of affordable housing for middle income households, and that's one of the things we're bringing on through this program. And this explains why. If you are a middle income household that is living in a rent control unit and you want to move, or you're moving to this city, as we're seeing about 10,000 new households every year move to this city, you cannot afford the average rent for a unit, either a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. Nobody can, including the middle income. Again, going back to our goal, it's to be an equitable and inclusive city. We want to include all income levels, including middle income. I want to talk about where this program applies. We looked at anywhere that the state density bonus law would apply. In your district, that's neighborhood commercial corridors, residential mixed neighborhoods where you can build multi-unit buildings, RC districts, and RH3. So this map here doesn't show super well, but there's a hard copy of it over there. These districts are generally within walking distance of major transit. They allow or require commercial on the ground floor. So they're sort of our major corridors. In your district, if the soft sites, the sites that we project will benefit from this program, move forward, we have about 390 units, of which 38 are affordable. That's with the controls today. With our local program, which is the program that provides 30% affordable housing, we have 1,000 new units in this neighborhood, of which 300 would be affordable. So that's a rapid increase in the amount of affordability, from 38 to 305. Next slide. There was a lot of talk about, and I think we will talk more about this, comparing what this program might do to this district compared to SOMA. Here you see that we think about 6% of the density that this program would produce will occur in the Richmond district. And I think on average, there's about a 6% increase in density for most of the areas affected. In SOMA and the Mission, we've seen a 30 to 40% increase in density. So I actually care a lot about gentrification. One of my first motivators to become a planner was reading Jane Jacobs. Have you guys all heard of her?
Yes.
Great. She talks a lot about the ballet of the street and a lot of things, but there's this one beautiful concept she offers, which is the pace of development predicts how fast you'll see that gentrification. SOMA and the Mission, I've lived in those neighborhoods. I know that the pace of development has been really fast. For better or worse, there's real good reasons for that. That was a change of neighborhoods from industrial to residential. That's not what we're imagining, projecting, or intending, or think is even possible in the Richmond. Here we're talking about small infill opportunities on sites that are underutilized, like parking lots. like parking lots. Oh my God, what a great cue. So this is one of the soft sites our analysis have identified. And here's another one at Fury and 3rd. And this is 18th Avenue. These are the kinds of places where we think projects will take, developers, landowners will take advantage of our program. And this is an example of what a project might look like.
This project exists. So this project is going through and getting approvals now.
This is a proposed project.
This is the Alexandria Theater.
Oh, the Alexandria Theater. Thank you. So, in summary, what is our program proposal? We have three programs, 2 mixed income programs and 1 100% affordable. This is what the state requires us to offer per the state law that's been on the books since 1979. 13 to 20% affordability. And for those projects, sometimes we have to offer 1 or 2 stories, but no more. And they would get up to a 35% increase in the number of units they could put on that site. While we were working on this program, Prop K was on the ballot. We weren't really satisfied with only 13 or 20% affordability. We wanted to get to the Prop K limit of 33%. We got to 30. We're really, really excited about that. We got to that by saying, make your first 12% affordable to 55 and 90 AMI, and then make 18% affordable to middle income. So this program, when it's fully built out, would produce 2,000 low and moderate income units and 3,000 middle income units. Under current zoning, those same sites would produce only 900 low income units and the rest market rate. I'm getting the oh my God, you're gonna get pulled off the stage. So I have a lot more material. Let me just flip through it really quickly. This is what a Haight benefit would look like. Here's some other buildings that exist in the city that already are at or above their existing height limits. There was a comment about the review process. We have not changed the review process. It still includes the commission, and it still includes public process. And just to be totally clear, there's been a lot of media about this, and especially to this group, I want to talk about how our program will not impact rent control units. There is an amendment that's at the board right now that says if you're choosing to demolish a rent control unit, you cannot use this program. I can address questions on that in Q&A. And we're also working with OEWD on small business retention. I can also address questions on that issue. As Supervisor Marr indicated, we have made some changes to the legislation. We'll continue to make more. And this is how to access us. So I think we're going to Q&A. That was a little bit fast on the key issues that you guys are interested in, but we'll get to them in Q&A.
All right, so thank you so much. We received a couple questions, and I think some of them addressed the parts that we had to speed through. And so the first question that we have here is, what is the exact language of the proposed amendment for rent control units?
That's a really great question. I don't think I have that memorized. It essentially says, should you be demolishing a rent control unit, you cannot use this program. And Planning Department, please study rent control because we want to work on a retention and management strategy for this important affordable housing supply. If you go to our website, our case report is published both on the Planning Commission agenda and on our project website. You can find that exact language, or you can email anyone on our team and we'll make sure you have it.
And then the second part of that question was, is it temporary or permanent?
It is permanent. There's some misunderstanding out there that there's a sunset. There is no sunset to the restriction of this program on sites that would demolish a rent control unit.
Okay.
Who is endorsing that? Like, where is that in the legislation?
That was introduced by Supervisor Breed.
This is a new draft. When did she come out with a new draft? Because we talked to her a week ago and she said.
No, I'm not sure where that 1 year is coming from. I've heard it in a number of rooms. I thought I was the source of it because I said we could study for 1 year.
It was from her aide.
Okay.
And from her directly. So.
Yeah, no, that's not correct, and I'm happy to follow up with you on that.
I'll follow up.
Cool. All right, next question that we have here is, what is the composition of the Affordable Housing Bonus Program Design Review Committee?
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me use the slides if that's okay.
Do you want me to read through? There are a couple.
Yeah.
What is their experience in the SF Planning Department, and who monitors, critiques, and then reviews their work?
You all do,
Right,
actually.
right.
So this slide is really great because it kind of walks you through the planning process. There's a community review and there's city review. Every project goes through this process. First, the developer tells the department, I've got this idea, it's for this site, and it's going to look like this. It's more than a napkin sketch, but not much more. We give them a full letter of comments on what we think they need to do, both code-wise and design-wise. Then they have a meeting with the community to say, here's what I'm proposing to do. They're required to do this and show us proof they did it. They notify people in a certain area. Then it goes through a lot of review of the planning department. We have 200 staff. Most of them are spending their time reviewing development proposals, both for environmental impacts and code consistency. And then we have 3 professional architects, I think that team is growing every day, who review the design. Then it goes to neighborhood notification. So then you hear about the final product that has gone through this department. Let me make abundantly clear, these are your official processes. If you're a good neighborhood advocate, you're talking to your planner about that project the whole time, because that planner wants a project that you as a neighbor also like. Oftentimes, they're advocating for the same changes that you are, and having your support helps us be better negotiators. Once you hear that there's going to be a hearing, then it goes to the Planning Commission. There's a public hearing where there's opportunity for public comment.
Thank you for that.
That's my question. How many members are there? Did you say just 3 architects?
There are 3 professional architects, and then there are several planners that have urban design degrees. I don't know their resumes off the top of my head, but there are a lot of staff that spend the time. There are 3 different UDAT, SDAT, RDAT, I don't know what they all are, but there are many different committees with expertise on different building types. And I'm Hiroshi, I see you all the time, so I'm happy to dive into details with you. I'm going to get to all the questions.
How does it work with you?
Hiroshi, please let her continue.
Yeah, we've got some other questions from them.
The next question is, and also just to remind folks, there's another round of Q&A after Kirsten's and the 2 other panelists' presentations. So the next question is, regarding the expedited placement for displaced tenants, what happens once they are out of their unit but have nowhere to go?
So I think that might be a question from an older version of the program. The rent control units are not able to be demolished, so there isn't that issue of displaced rent control tenants with this program.
Sorry, to clarify, this just said displaced tenants generally.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse of expertise, but I understand that. Actually, I think Joseph should answer the question. That's your expertise.
We'll get to it after.
Okay.
Yeah, let's let you feel these.
Okay. The next question is, how does the term underutilized apply to rent-controlled units that would be replaced for more expensive rent-control exempt affordable units?
So the term underutilized is really scary because it has this loaded perspective of like the greedy developer who just wants to make the most money. When us planners use it, we mean is the building that's there now 5% or less of the total volume of the future building? And this actually helps us really predict where development will happen. Hala, who's wandering around here, is our lead person who's worked really hard on our program to really understand where we think development will happen. To be totally clear, this is not your RH1 and RH2. It's not your historic resources are not able to be demolished for this program. Rent control units are not able to be demolished. So it's really your parking lots, your gas stations, maybe you've got a 1-story building that's covering some of the lot or all of the lot. Those are really what we consider to be underutilized. We went back and looked in the places where the market is the hottest, Soma, Mission, and we're seeing that people are only developing on those kinds of sites. The protections for tenants, and without this program are so strong that developers are more interested in doing the projects where there's less friction and less cost to acquire the site.
This is sort of a clarification or maybe addition to that question. Are all gas stations in the district considered eligible for this program? Are all parking lots considered eligible for this program?
So the eligibility is based on the zoning district. So this just says you own this land, you now have not just the option that you have today, but 2 other options for how to redevelop that site should you want to. It still requires a developer to decide that that's the location that makes sense, the landowner to decide that they want to sell the land for redevelopment, the business lease to terminate. All of those things come together, and then the developer has to say, the current controls only require 12% affordability. I would have to do 30% affordability to do this program. The cost-benefit ratio makes sense. So we don't think everybody who's in the program area who redevelops will even use our program. Sometimes they will be better off financially to not use it because of that extra cost of affordability. So to answer the question, all of the sites are eligible, except all of the gas stations are eligible in parking lots, but there's a lot of personal decision making that has to happen before development will happen.
Cool. The next question that we have is, how does this plan address the current outstanding underlying need for housing for those who make far below $100,000 a year? These are most of the people who need housing and to stay in the city.
Here we go. So this chart is a little bit wonky, but this shows you in the whole city over a 20-year period, if the sites in the program area were to be developed, we would get about 7,400 units. And under current controls, 12% of them have to be affordable to 55 and 90 AMI, so low and moderate, if you remember that old chart. If they all used our state program, we'd get about 1,500 affordable units. So we're getting more for low and moderate. If they all use the local program, we're getting 2,000 units for low and moderate, as opposed to 900, and 3,000 middle income. So in my mind, even if you don't value this as a public good, this program is still vastly increasing the productivity of affordable housing for low and moderate households.
We just received another question. Is the bar on rent control units temporary or permanent? Sorry.
Still permanent, yeah.
Are financial disclosures on file for city employees and contractors involved in planning?
All of our salaries are online, so you can look at that.
And the consultants, I think the consultant contracts are available. Our three consultants were David Baker Architects, Libby Seifel Consulting, those are both, and Open Scope Studios, which is another architecture firm. These are all locally owned businesses that have been working in the city for 20 to 40 years. And so you can review those contracts as well.
Another question is, doesn't the Affordable Housing Bonus Program greatly diminish the role of the Planning Commission? They can only make minor changes once the plan is approved. They cannot make moderate or major changes or deny a project.
Yeah, this is a comment we've been hearing a lot, and it's a bit confusing for me. We have introduced one change to the process, which is any project that's choosing to do 30% affordability, which is a very difficult bar to reach in terms of level of public goods. Those projects are benefiting from a process that we call 328, which is something that we've been doing in the eastern neighborhoods for a long time. It's modeled after that, like a large project authorization. It basically, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the planning code. It is 3 binders tall. Sometimes you're going through the planning review process, and later on we find out, like, oh, you actually need a CU for this or a modification for that. There's all these like weird processes. It's sort of like a pinball machine. We said, look, let's instead put your whole review process in this one code section and explain just your procedures. So there isn't a limitation on what staff or the commission can do.
These two questions are in a similar vein. The first question is that map on the wall, which is over there, and also a map that you all have received in the pile of papers that y'all received, is that map on the wall updated per the new London Breed amendments? And also there's some confusion about maps that are on the website about the color coding. So I have seen one that's blue and one that's other colors. What does each map represent?
Yeah, so did we get that map done? Oh, we did. Okay. So here is, this is hard to see on screen, so we can look at this online, but a little slower. Back to the first one. This is the full program area, and then when you remove parcels and their parent control units. So you can just do this all day if you want. But we understand that this issue is really important for people, and I've got great staff helping me realize, like, when I show a giant big turquoise blob on the map, that's really scary for people. It's my favorite color, so it's comforting. But what we are going to do is help people understand a little bit more about how to really imagine where in your community this program might benefit certain parcels. So that's a good homework assignment for us. As Supervisor Marr said, we have another window before our commission acts, so we'll be talking to them next week and then back again in April, and during that time our team is going to really work on helping people really understand this particular point. These will be on our website.
Kirsten, a clarification. Why are we going with amendments with London Breed when Katie Tang and the mayor can make any change they want right now? They don't need to go through amendment.
If I could understand the political and legislative process and explain it to you succinctly, I totally would. But those amendments from Supervisor Breed is a friendly amendment that our mayor and Supervisor Tang are fully in support of.
Well, they can just do it.
They can. Supervisor Breed chose to take that issue on. She feels like it's a really important issue in her district, and she wanted to take ownership of it.
Does that mean it'll have to be voted on?
All the legislative process. So it was introduced by the mayor. Any supervisor can make any amendment at any time. Our commission are an advisory body to the board, so they're asked to give feedback to the board. The board's land use committee will then meet. They'll make further amendments, probably, and then they'll send it to the full board. Further amendments can happen there, and then it goes to the mayor for signature. So they're sort of, it will all land in one document.
But Katie and the mayor could do it right now, right?
I can talk to you off.
Okay.
Presently cut you off because we're going to have to move on with our program. Thank you so much, Kirsten. Round of applause for fielding all these questions.